Hey guys, so it's D&D Thursday, so we're here to talk about some Dungeons and Dragons. Hope you guys have been having a great week. It's been an insane week for me, mainly because multiple reasons. One, I am starting a brand new D&D club for the middle schoolers who are at the school that I work for, which is super exciting. I have a big campaign game coming up on Saturday that I will be DMing for the main group, and then it is also today the new campaign for Critical Role. I have officially now watched every single episode of the original campaign. I finally finished on Tuesday night, and I am so psyched and pumped and ready, and I can't wait for the new campaign. And the most exciting part, for those of you who don't know, Critical Role is a online television show where voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know how you wouldn't know that if you've been watching this channel, but if you haven't been watching this channel, now you kind of know what it is. You can check it out on Geek and Sundry or on Project Alpha. It's awesome. Totally worth checking out, and now is the time actually to start watching because it's a brand new campaign. They have brand new characters, which they will announce tonight and we'll see for the first time. And it has been, their old campaign went on online for 3 years, I want to say 2.5, almost 3 years. And then this, we'll see how long this new campaign goes, but yeah. Now is a good time to start watching. Actually, Eric is going to watch with me. He has not watched any of the original campaign other than seeing me watch it for 9 months. So I'm excited that I get to share this experience with him, because that's kind of the point of D&D, is to have shared experiences and make shared memories, even if it isn't necessarily your character is doing blah blah blah, but really you feel like it's you doing that. So in a way, we're having that shared experience and we're making that shared memory, and now I get to actually share that memory making with Eric, which I'm really excited about. He is a little hesitant because it is a lot of content to watch, but I think because we're starting at the beginning and we're doing it together, and it's gonna be fun. I will say, episodes usually last between 3 and 4 hours. I don't know if they're gonna try to keep it better with the 3-hour time limit now that they're in the new campaign, but on the East Coast, it doesn't start till 10 o'clock. That's very late, especially when you have to go to work the next morning. We will probably watch only parts of it live, and then the rest of it will be watched, the recording afterwards, because yeah, that's a lot. So that is it's kind of made my week very exciting. It's been sort of a culminating moment, and then also the start of something brand new, all in the same week, and it seems appropriate for 2018. I know that the campaign ended back in November, or the end of October, or beginning of November, and they waited until now, and they did a bunch of one-shots and like other really fun games in between now and then, but it has been a long time coming, and 2018, new campaign, good way to start a new year, I would say. Also, the campaign that I'm running for the kids starts on Friday. We have 5 interested players, including a girl. I have a middle school girl. I'm so excited. So that's gonna be really interesting. I'm a little nervous actually about trying to teach them. I think none of them have ever played before. The boys are all really excited and really interested, and they're the ones who sort of got me thinking that there would be interest in this, because they talked about, how do I build a character? How does it work? They asked all the like, what do I roll? How do I find out what dice I roll? And so they're the ones who made me say, okay, I'm gonna reach out to Wizards of the Coast. We're gonna make this club happen. And so while it's not it's an extracurricular club, they are gonna be staying late on Fridays to do this, which I think is really awesome, because if you've never tried it before, it's a little hard to make a time commitment, but especially if you're a kid on a Friday afternoon and they're like, hey, stay in school longer. And they're like, really, huh? So yeah, but I think I'm hoping that the core group of these kids will stick with it, and then who knows, maybe there'll be other kids who hear about the adventures that they go on and they'll get interested and they'll want to try it. Spreading the good word of Dungeons and Dragons everywhere I go. Other than that, the campaign for Saturday, I don't want to say too much. Next week we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I did want to talk actually a little bit about my process that I go through. I know that some of you guys who've been watching you are DMs or GMs, and I'm always curious to hear what other people's process is like, because I think it's very personal. It's your creative process. There's no formula for it. I wish there was a formula for it, but you sort of have to do it at the way that it works for you. So my process usually starts with a cup of coffee, because coffee is important. I work best in the very early mornings. I don't know why. That makes no sense. But I get up and I usually work in the mornings for a little bit on it. If it's a day that I'm working on it before work, I'll work for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And I have a tendency, this is again the most ridiculous thing in the entire world, I actually like to physically write my notes down. I find that the transference between my brain and the page works better if I'm physically writing it than if I'm typing it. And then once I have notes written up, I have a massive Google Doc that has all of each session sort of written out and the flow, and then if I've written any script for any of the NPCs, if they're giving big speeches, or if I want to make sure that I'm hitting particular points because it's information that is important for the players. The campaign that I'm running has a bit of intrigue in it, and they're trying to solve a mystery of what is going on within the political structure of the Thieves Guild. And so they're investigating different characters. So I'm trying to deal out little hints and clues and misdirects, and you know, there's red herrings in there as well throughout the campaign. So knowing what I'm gonna be sharing with them is important, dependent upon how well they roll a particular check. So I have a lot of charts of like, if they roll a 15 insight check, then they're gonna really understand that this character is totally lying to them and they probably shouldn't trust what they're saying. Or if they roll a 10, oh, that character's probably pretty, you know, it's a little hard to read. He potentially could be telling you the truth. So I start with paper, write down general outline of notes, or flesh out ideas, or work through how the flow of the story is going to work. Then I will type things up on the computer, and then lastly usually is pulling together the monsters. Oh, and building dungeons. Those I usually draw out. My notebook is a grid. It's a graph paper notebook. That's makes the most sense, and I will draw out the different dungeons or different, you know, encounter areas that they have in my notebook. Sometimes that works out better than others. There are plenty of failed drawings in my notebook that didn't end up happening or didn't end up working right. I don't know if you guys have seen some of our other videos, but we're working on some 3D printed terrain right now, and so it's interesting to have to try to draw 3D printed or draw dungeon maps on graph paper and then transfer them into 3D printed terrain, because can be challenging when you have infinite amount of space on paper and then you realize, oh, I don't have that piece printed. I have to reassess my dungeon. So parts and parcels, but we'll talk more about dungeons in another episode. I am really excited for Saturday and for my new session 6 of my Cyrodiil homebrew campaign. And I'm happy to talk more about that if you guys are interested. But yes, so you have a little peek into my process. I didn't want to really show you my notebook and give anything away. I have finished, over the course of 6 months, I have completely filled one notebook, and now I'm in the process of my second notebook. So I'm gonna be one of those people one day who ends up with a boatload of notebooks. Oh, and then the final thing that I do is that I use Campaign Logger. It is a website that allows you to track your campaign. It uses a tagging system so that you can easily reference and search things, and I use that while I'm playing along with my Google Doc in order to make sure that, you know, I'm giving them the right information about the NPC that I made 3 weeks ago or 3 sessions ago, or, you know, when they meet a new character, it has some, I can quickly add in information in the log so that when I go back and I'm referring to, oh, what did that person tell them? Did they tell them everything? Having taken some of those notes during the game allows me to better plan for the next one. But yeah, it can be a very long process for me. I want to give my players enough options that if they decide that they don't want to do the thing that I thought they were going to do, that I have about 3 other ideas floating enough that I can sort of direct them in that way, and then finally get them back to the main story thread over time. I'm hoping last session was very kind of dark. It ended on a negative kind of note. It was sad. There was crying. This session I'm hoping will be more adventure and less crying. But we'll see. It's a big turning point moment, I think, for the group. They're going to a really big banquet. It's a festival day in the city, and they got invited by the ambassador to attend a banquet because they saved his son, who had been kidnapped by goblins who were going to sacrifice him. But they're going to meet some very important characters, and there's going to be something that happens, you know, as things do in fantasy campaigns. But yes, so there will be lots of interesting things that happen, and we'll see how the session goes. But anyway, until then, if you are watching Critical Role tonight, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation about it with you guys because I need more critter friends. Have you ever run a campaign for people under the age of 18? That I'd love to get tips or tricks or things that made it easier for you, or things to not do. That would be helpful as well. And then finally, if you're running your own campaign, or if you're playing in a campaign, what is your favorite part about the either the planning process, or what's your favorite kind of playing that you do? Do you like story-based role playing, or are you more interested in action and the fights and the fighting? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it, and we'll you know, we'll get a conversation started. All right guys, so I think that's gonna be it for today. I hope everybody had a wonderful day. I hope everybody enjoys the show tonight if you're watching it. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and tune back in next Thursday for more D&D Thursdays. See you guys then. Bye.